Meet Tim. Oh, not that Tim. This Tim. Tim isn't just a Call of Duty player. He is the heart and soul of the Call of Duty franchise. And in this video, I'm going to put my 20 plus years of marketing experience to work for you, so that by the end of this video, you're going to understand why Tim is the reason Warzone 2 wasn't just made for casual players, but for everybody. Tim is the Call of Duty avatar, aka buyer persona. He represents Call of Duty's target audience, and Activision figured out who he was a long time ago. See, whenever a company is going to launch a new product, they get all their smart marketing people in a room together to decide who their target audience is going to be for that product. The ideal example of that target audience that they come up with is called the customer avatar or buyer persona. For Call of Duty games, it's Tim. So Tim has been around since the very first Call of Duty games, but he's always had a few key traits. He's probably between the ages of 25 and 50. He has a full-time job with a decent paycheck and some disposable income. And he plays Call of Duty games on a console and a big screen TV. Disposable income is the most important thing to Activision because video games are not a necessity like food or rent. So Tim needs to have enough income that he can pay all his bills and still comfortably have enough left over to buy the latest Call of Duty title, the Battle Pass, and some cool blueprints. But what Tim doesn't have enough of is time. Tim works all day, and when he gets home, he has responsibilities that take priority over playing Call of Duty games. Maybe he has a family or other hobbies that take up most of his free time. So he mostly gets to play Call of Duty 1 or maybe 2 nights a week, probably on the weekends when his buddies are available. And by the way, his buddies are probably just like him. So while Tim has always enjoyed playing Call of Duty games, these days it's just not his highest priority. So he probably doesn't play enough to be a high KD player. He probably doesn't stay up to date on Call of Duty news on Twitter. He might watch some Tim the Tatman or Dr. Disrespect streams on YouTube, but he's not watching hours of Call of Duty content online every day. Tim's KD is probably on or around a 1.0. But he buys the Battle Pass and any cool blueprints that he wants because they're fun and he can afford them. And that's why Activision loves Tim. In 2021, Tim had a falling out with Activision. You see, he and his buddies had been playing Call of Duty games for many years on their consoles. But when Warzone came out in March of 2020, they thought it looked pretty fun, so they decided to give it a try. And they loved it. It might even have been their first Battle Royale, but they had more fun in Verdansk than they ever had in any other Call of Duty game. So as the world was rocked by the pandemic, they got to hang out with their buddies online and have fun playing Warzone. As time went by, eventually they started running into very skilled players in their lobbies, and they would get absolutely destroyed. They could not figure out why this suddenly started happening to them. They died so fast they couldn't even react most of the time. It wasn't a fun experience. These new players they were running into were slide canceling and bunny hopping all over the place like they were on drugs. And Tim and his friends had absolutely no idea where these guys came from. Their lobbies never used to feel like this. These players clearly spent a lot more time in the game and took it a lot more seriously than Tim and his friends ever did. Fights started to feel less and less fair, and their nights often ended in rage quitting. Coincidentally, this is just about the time when people started seeing more and more TikTok videos of players slide canceling around enemy teams to make them look stupid before killing them. Some of Tim's friends got sick of rage quitting all the time and just stopped playing altogether. And then Caldera replaced Verdansk, and the terrible launch on console made it impossible for many people to even play Warzone, so more of Tim's friends stopped playing. But funny enough, there were more PC players than ever, so Tim's lobbies kept getting sweatier and sweatier. Eventually it was down to Tim and just 1 or 2 of his friends, and they went from getting several kills before they died to getting maybe 1 or 2 kills if they were lucky. Most fights seemed unfair, and it felt like all the other players at their skill level were gone. So one fateful Saturday night, Tim and his last 2 friends had enough, and they rage quit Warzone for the last time. Turns out Warzone lost a full third of its player base over that time period, and most of them were probably like Tim. Call of Duty was losing its target audience, which meant microtransaction sales were down. And that's when Activision took a long, hard, probably painful look at Warzone data and realized the skill gap had gotten too big. Then in November 2022, Tim was checking out a Dr. Disrespect stream while he was eating responsible lunch at work. And he saw that Warzone 2.0 looked different from Warzone. He saw Doc was enjoying the game.
Yeah, I like this, I like this.
And he didn't see any crackhead movement gods slide canceling and stim boosting around everywhere. So he decided to give it a shot, and he liked it. Then he told his buddies about it, and they all decided to try it, and they all liked it. Tim and his buddies came back to Call of Duty because of Warzone 2.0. There's only one logical explanation for why there's no slide canceling or crazy stim movement in Warzone 2.0. It's to reduce the skill gap, so Tim and his friends can keep having fun and don't quit playing, and they keep spending money. Warzone 2.0 is designed to make success in the game feel more accessible for the majority of Call of Duty players. If you're a casual player or a mid-core player, chances are you're going to like Warzone 2 better than Warzone over time. If you're a hardcore sweat who really enjoyed the movement meta in Warzone, you probably miss being able to break people's cameras and get in and out of fights real fast with slide canceling and stim boosting. But if casual players start leaving this game like they left Warzone, the lobbies are going to get a lot harder, a lot sweatier, and we're going to start hearing the sweats complaining about how sweaty the lobbies are, just like we did in Warzone. If you're a hardcore player and you don't want constant sweaty lobbies, you need the casual player base. You want them to stick around. You want them to enjoy the game. You want them to keep playing. Warzone 2 was designed to let them have more fun and keep them playing longer, which means you'll still get lobbies where you can drop your high kill games for TikTok. The Call of Duty Players Union exists to give all Call of Duty players a voice online like they've never had before. But our main target audience is the hundreds of millions of people all around the world, just like Tim. Our goal is to get Activision to listen to us about the game before everybody like Tim quits the game again. And if Activision doesn't listen to us, we'll go on strike to show them we mean business, just like Tim did, because that's when Activision will start paying attention. Watch this video to learn more about the Call of Duty Players Union. Becoming a member is 100% free. There's absolutely no commitment, and your membership is private. It's the best way to make sure that you have a voice that Activision will actually listen to.